Hi, my beautiful friends. I'm Shana Narrow, and I'm helping women to end food addiction and step into their power and manifest radiant health. So I want to look with you at why is it that people are feeling so powerless? Where does this really come from? And how can we start getting our power back? How can we start feeling confident about ourselves? How can we start moving in the direction of where we want to go instead of feeling like we're really in a rut and that we literally feel trapped and not able to live in alignment with what it is that we really want? What's the root here? So there are different roots. Getting to the root is really the key to real healing. I'm teaching people how to shift their state, how to learn to really be able to control how you feel. However, that work is only going to take somebody to really having agency when they've been able to heal at the root, which honestly does not require years of therapy. It does not require long investment of time and energy, but it requires just the commitment to do some serious work that can actually be very transformative in a very short amount of time. So I want to take the example of self-worth, because with food issues and food addiction, with many issues, it's the problem of having low self-worth is a common problem for many people, and especially when it comes to food issues. So we can use this as an example as a root issue that can lead to food addiction, as well as many other types of addiction and destructive behaviors where a person feels powerless. So the root of having low self-worth frequently goes back to someone's upbringing. It goes back to how parents related to the child, and what was the self-worth of the parent, okay? If a mother, let's say, feels inadequate, has very low self-esteem and doesn't feel good enough, so generally it is quite common for the beliefs of the parent, especially the mother, to get internalized into the child. Now, sometimes what happens is the child rebels and goes in the other direction. But even when the child rebels against their parent, against something that they don't like in their parent, there's a very high probability that they actually have still internalized some core beliefs that the parent held. So if the parent, again, was having very low self-esteem, that likely will get internalized to the child for a couple of reasons. First of all, when the child is very young, the thoughts of the parent basically seem just to be reality for the child. It automatically gets internalized. So that's the first reason. The way the parent thinks automatically is to the child as if this is just reality. This is the way one thinks. And a young child is actually very in tune to what their parents are thinking without even the parents needing to say anything. However, the second reason is because based on how the parent thinks is going to influence how they act. So a mother, for example, with low self-esteem and low self-worth is likely not going to be making their child feel loved in the same way. And that's simply, of course they love their child, but they simply don't have the tools. They don't possess the state of feeling love themselves. So it's essentially almost impossible for them to give their child the state of feeling loved when they don't love themselves. So we just want to start thinking about what it is that we may have taken on from our parents, because if we have taken on low self-worth or low self-esteem, then we are likely bringing that with us through our life. We've internalized those beliefs. And so we also are, unless we make the shift to empowerment, we are not going to be able to shift out of low self-esteem and low confidence in ourselves. And I want to be clear here. It's really important for anybody who's ready to take the steering wheel and change directions in their life, change from a direction of victim, which also is just basically where you don't feel you have power to change the way you feel, where you don't feel you have power to change your beliefs. Maybe you don't even have awareness. That's victim still. It's not consciously being a victim. Most types of victimhood are unconscious. So in order to turn the wheel and move in that direction of empowerment, it is crucial that one begins to realize a very basic truth, which is that everybody has the resources they need, all the resources they need to achieve basically anything they want to achieve. This is a huge thing. And again, if the parent wasn't aware of that, which is a high level of awareness, we all come here to rectify these false beliefs. So chances are we all in some way have this block where we don't realize that we have all the resources that we need to achieve what we want to achieve. And the thing that is standing in the way of us achieving what we want to achieve is simply what's going on in here, what's going on in our mind. The beliefs that we've internalized are blocking us from these inner resources that we were born with, and we possess them. So it's so important to understand this in order to really move forward and switch directions, okay? So that's one place where we can all really use as an affirmation that we do have all the resources that we need. And then I just want to offer a couple tips. Of course, like, this work does take some focus. There's techniques that as I said, can really allow a person to break through very quickly without having to analyze, understand everything about what happened in one's childhood, what happened with the parents, and everything that went wrong. That's not really necessary when we get some of the basic principles. And then once we learn to break through, especially just a few times in a very core way, then actually things start to really fall away on their own. And once we learn to access our power in a very real way for like a few times, very significantly, when we experience that again, then those victim habits also, they really start to fall away. So this process can happen. I've seen it happen quite quickly. Just giving you some things to think about and meditate on, and start to hopefully have some realizations. So a couple of practical things that I just want to offer for you to focus on in terms of feeling more empowered, and let's say with self-worth, feeling your worth and your value and knowing that that's been there all along and healing that and releasing any beliefs. So just practically, again, I'm fast forwarding. You may, if you have resistance to any of these quick suggestions, then that's already a sign that you do need to go back to the root. But anyone can benefit from working at any level. So I hope this can offer something. So one just very easy tip and thing to start doing is you want to start focusing on what you need to stay centered and feeling connected to yourself versus what you want and what feels exciting to you, because it is a little bit paradoxical, and somebody who has not gone through this process of fully owning their power is going to be gravitating towards what they want, what feels exciting. This is like an indication. I mean, simply with food, we're going towards what we want in the moment, and somehow we're blocked towards what we really need to support us in being the most, the brightest person that we could be and really actualizing our greatest potential. So we can just start to ask ourselves this question. And if you're struggling with food, I actually recommend that you start with this in a different area of your life, because food really is a core survival area that we tend to come to later once after a person starts mastering this in other areas of your life. But in other areas of your life, to start asking yourself, well, what do I need here for me to feel connected and centered? And what do I want here? What am I being pulled to just from simple desire and excitement? And then you can begin to discern. And then you can begin to make the choices towards what you really need. And those are the choices that are going to really foster your sense of self-worth. So that's the first thing I wanted to suggest. Another huge thing is accepting our humanness, which comes along with forgiveness. Feeling great about ourselves is not about being perfect. We really have to be humble and forgive ourselves and forgive others. Again, this leads to deeper work of forgiveness, just learning some basic techniques to really release what we are holding. But start with forgiving yourself. Start with realizing that everybody is doing the best they can and is usually making the best decisions that they are capable of in that moment based on, what they're based on what they're capable of. They're making the best decisions. They're doing the best they can, and they generally have good intentions. So that can help you to be more compassionate towards yourself and more compassionate towards others. And by doing that, you are going to be increasing your sense of self-worth and self-confidence. So last thing, which relates to what I just said, is really to think about how you're viewing others, because how you're viewing others is going to reflect how you're viewing yourself. If you feel a lot of negativity towards others and judgment, so that's a very clear indication that you actually either consciously or in many cases unconsciously have a lot of judgment on yourself. And so you actually can start reversing that process just by dropping what you have to other people. That will allow you to begin to drop what you're holding over yourself. And then going back to what I just said, everyone's doing the best they can. And we really want to know that, and then know that we have all the resources. I'm just going to say it again because this is a core concept that needs to be internalized. We need to awaken to this and believe it, that we have the resources, everything we need to be who we want to be, to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And so when we're aware of that and when we want to be in that state of knowing that we have everything available to us, then it is just a matter of one step in front of the other, removing the blocks and learning how to access. And these things can be learned quite easily when a person's ready, when they want it, and they're just willing to see what's in front of them and release using these techniques. So that's it for now. I'm going to put a link at the bottom if any of you want to speak more about how you can move forward and what's been blocking you. I offer free breakthrough call, and I'm really happy to speak to help you to get clarity and help you make a plan to move forward. So that link's going to be below. Have a wonderful day. I hope this was helpful for you, and I will talk to